Namaste. Welcome to the Ilongga Yogi podcast. My name is Kate. I'm from Iloilo City. I'm the founder of Healing Iloilo, where I teach daily yoga classes, and the founder of Mental Health Iloilo, a community that supports mental health awareness in Iloilo City. I share content on yoga, mindfulness, fitness, mental health, self-care, and healing. Before we get into it, I would like to invite you to my classes at Molo Mansion. So if you're interested in taking a class with me, just head over to Healing Iloilo's Facebook page to book a class. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a couple of months since my last episode, and right now, I am not in the Philippines. I am not in Iloilo City. I am in Japan. I'm here for a trip. So in JCI, we have what we call this Asia and the Pacific conference. So it's like a big event where we all come together, and I'm here now. Uh we're actually almost done. Actually, this is the last day. So almost done with this whole 3-day activity, or it was almost like 4 days of being here, and I'll be traveling back to Tokyo, and I'll be staying there, and I am doing this alone, and it's actually pretty good. I mean, first, as I was preparing for this trip, if you've been listening to me for a while, traveling by myself always gives me a lot of anxiety. Like, I don't know, I just think of the worst thing that could happen. I just sometimes think that what if I get stranded, or what if at immigration they just stop me and then I cannot leave, or like all these different things that I worry about. But the moment when I am at the destination that I plan to go to, everything just works out. It's perfect. So I feel like I this is a better experience because I'm here by myself. Like, nothing is holding me back. Nothing is, I guess, like dictating what I should do and shouldn't do. And so I just like have the freedom of just doing whatever I want to do. So I feel like the trips that I've had where I'm by myself or where I'm alone have been very, very like meaningful for me for the most part. Of course, there were some that weren't the best experience, but I would have to say this was a good opportunity for me. It was so nice to meet other people, like from different places, from different JCI organizations, not just like mingling within the Philippines. So this is a very nice experience to have, and I kind of made a promise to myself that doing this was so that I could experience JCI in the international level and see if it's something that still aligns with who I am, or if it's something that I still want to continue doing. Like, whenever you are or you become president, it's not really the end of the line, but it kind of is the end of the line for you in your local organization. You can like continue helping, but like you don't really have such a big active role anymore. So, after this, I'd really wanted to explore what are the other opportunities left for me beyond the national and local level, because I have such a passion for anything that's like international, uh, and like getting to know other people from different cultures, from different countries. Like, I feel like I just love that experience. And again, like going back to what I studied back in college, like that's still something that I want to pursue somehow, like in my own terms, wherein it doesn't feel like there's too much pressure. Um, so yeah, like that kind of is something I'm exploring. So this is such a good experience for me, and I feel like it's the best way to slowly wrap up my term. For us in the local level, actually, like this is the last legit working month. Like when I say working month, you really push out all the projects you have left. You start writing those bids, and it's just like go time. And then come July, everything just kind of slows down already. And then you can still do projects, but it's not like you're not pressured anymore. and there's still like another round of bids, but it's really more of like just like adding on to what you've already done. It's not like you're not necessarily starting from the beginning anymore. So this is like the last bit, the last push. And a lot has happened. My gosh, a lot has happened. I don't even know how I was able to just like get to this point, honestly, because wow, it was a lot. It was a lot. And but it just goes to show that you know what they say, like this whole experience, it's like an experiment, like a life experiment that is unlike any other. So like everything that life tries to teach you, for me, like that's how I see it, how I see what I've gone through in this past 6 months, more than 6 months, is that everything that life wants to teach you or tries to teach you, it kind of puts it all in this term, in my experience of being president. It just like pushes it all in there, and then it's like this little mini life experiment that will change you forever or will change you greatly. And that's kind of been my experience recently. It's been a lot, especially last month. Right now I'm recording this in June, and last month was May. And oh gosh, it was quite a heavy month for me. I think for some reason, I think it was because like after April, we celebrate JCI week. And right before that, it's like Women's Month. So for a female and all female chapter, you kind of try to do a lot of things within the month of March. February is what we call like our National Training Month. So, you push out trainings every week, you attend other trainings. It's a lot. It's a lot of things happening. So, like, February, March, April, it's a pretty busy, hectic month. And for us, like, we've already been working since November, October, December. Those months were pretty busy. So I think when May came around, I was just very, very empty. I was very empty. I was very burnt out. I was very tired. That, like, I think in that particular month, like, my depression really hit. But I have to preface this as well. I haven't told my OB yet, but I a couple months before, I think it was like in April, is when I stopped taking my medication for my endometriosis. I know, don't react to that, but because I know I should be telling my OB about this, but I haven't. Maybe because I'm afraid. But anyway, so maybe that's also another reason, like, again, as what I've learned in my experience here in ASPAC in Japan, and like getting to mingle and hear directly from our world president, who's a female, who's a woman, of how women's bodies are different, and so we have to adjust leadership in that way, and we have to like teach everyone else that this is how it has to work. Like, we can't function the same way as everyone else because, as a woman, our bodies are just not the same. We deal with weekly changes, monthly changes. So anyway, I feel like that's possibly another reason. Just like, I was just very depressed. I was in a very, very low point in May. I was very depressed. So I feel like I was easily triggered by whatever happened, whatever came my way. So it was pretty heavy because I started the month just very, very drained, super tired. And I remember during that month, just for some reason, that entire month, it was so difficult to just like get up. It was so difficult to just like leave the bed and to get up and to do anything because I was just like empty. I was running on empty. But of course, we still had lots of things to do and lots of projects to do. We weren't done yet. We were like kind of halfway through, um, kind of, So there was just a lot to do. And so I was not okay. I was triggered by a lot of things that happened, and it really like took a toll on me. It really beat me down, and I was struggling. I was very, very much struggling. I hit a low point last May wherein I kind of just like went back to a very dark, dark place again. And this is something that, again, just a little bit of context. I don't want to mention anything that could also be triggering, but, I've had a history of just going to a very dark place and going to a place that's very dangerous, irreversible, that kind of thing. And like, I went back to that because, again, like something just switched in my brain and I just wasn't, myself again. I was just wasn't okay again. But because I felt like I was desperate for help, I did reach out to doctors. I did reach out to a psych. I did do therapy. And of course, I opened this up to my husband as well, and he just like stayed with me the entire time because he knew that I wasn't okay. So he really just like dropped everything and made sure that I wasn't alone during this time because my mind wasn't thinking right anymore. And I think what also happened was, because of a very, very bad experience for me, emotionally and personally, that pushed me to reach out and like just open up to someone to like ask for help. And because of that, I feel like that's why I'm here today. Like that's why I can like I'm back to who I am. Like I'm back to feeling normal, or like I guess I was able to manage and cope through that dark time because I reached out, I asked for help, I opened it up to people, and maybe I didn't like share everything to certain people, but my husband, he was there. He sat with me as I was like crying and sobbing and just like really hysterical because I didn't know what to do anymore. Like I just felt so low. I felt so empty. I felt so beaten up. I felt so it was a very, very low and dark time. And he was there. And I realized that, in that moment, you kind of question, like, why does this have to happen? Like, why does this have to happen to me? Why is this happening? What did I do wrong? Where did everything go wrong? You kind of question yourself, especially when it has to do around, your leadership. All of this, by the way, like was because of, my leadership being in this being president. It comes with that. It comes with the role. There's a lot of baggage that you carry, and it's not just like the responsibilities, like the official responsibilities and duties you have, but there's a lot of drama that comes with it, a lot of emotions, a lot of things that go around, naturally, especially when everyone's stressed and burnt out. But anyway, it was it was a very tumultuous month and time. But, I came out of it. Like I remember during that time, I just kept like I kept praying. I just stayed with my faith. I held on to my faith. I held on to my connection and relationship with my faith, and that really, for some reason, like kept me going because it was like I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know what to do anymore. And I think another thing that really helped me was, of course, listening to other people's stories. I came across a podcast, and it was a life-changing podcast, honestly, because it was a podcast episode that came at the perfect time. Like I don't usually listen to this podcaster. I don't usually listen to this podcast, but for some reason at that particular moment, I came across this podcast episode and I listened to it, and like every single word they said just like hit me. And I don't know if you've ever had an experience like that, but that was my experience. And it was just like, this is what I needed to hear. Like, this is exactly what I needed to hear. And I think because of that, everything changed. Like, it just like pulled me out, and it just like lit a fire under my butt. And it just like reminded me, keep going. That's your light. Don't stop. Like, that's the end. Keep going, because you're already here. You're so close. And that's a thing with me. Everything that I've experienced here, like I said, this is like a mini life experience. It's like you're in this little room, and then like everything that you're supposed to learn in like 100 years worth of life, quote unquote, they throw it into that room. And then you're gonna go through that all in like less than a year. And everything that you go through, everything, all of your bad habits, all of your shadow side, your dark side, your insecurities, your fears, they're all going to come up. They're all going to resurface, and they're going to show themselves to you. And it's like, it's your job now to figure out, what are you going to do? Are you going to do the same habits? Are you going to step into the same like belief system that you've always had, and then like, same results? Or are you going to do something about it now and change that now? So that's why, I said yes in the first place, because when I stepped into this role as president, I didn't, like, just a year ago, that I remember I told myself like, nah, nah, it's like, that's a lot to deal with. I don't think this is for me. I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think this is my time. But whenever, like, but like something in me was telling me, if this is not for you, then there will be things that will stop you. Like, there will be things that will like kind of deny you access to this opportunity if it really isn't for you. So if there isn't, and if nothing is holding you back, and if there are people who want you to be here, then do it. Then go. There's nothing holding you back. They're already offering this to you. And again, like, even before that, I already said, like, if anything was offered to me, like, I'm going to say yes to it. I don't want to say no to any of those opportunities. So I said yes. And what really made me say yes was that I knew that this was going to be a growth. Like, this is going to be an experience that will help me grow personally. Like, I wanted to understand and really witness and experience myself as a leader, because I don't get opportunities like that, like, outside of my life. Not like this. So if I really wanted to see myself and test, who am I as a leader, not just like in the traditional sense, but like, as, let's say, like as a wife, as a mom, most especially, like as a mom, or as a business owner, or as a teacher, or in any other professional aspects in my life. Like, I want to see myself and witness who I am as a leader, as someone with people who are looking up to, with people who are leaning on for support, for guidance. Like, who am I in that position? And I really wanted this to change me for the best, for the best, and really like change all of my negative habits. I wanted it to change all of my belief systems, kind of like destroy all of that, all of the belief systems that I've had about myself, about people, or about life in general, all my insecurities and fears. I wanted that to just like disintegrate. And this is the only way to really do that, to really like push you out of that comfort zone, to push you out of that world that you used to have about myself, about everything else. So that's why I said yes. It wasn't because I want to be president, or I want I want the respect, or I want the awards or the recognition. Like, mm-mm. This was more of a personal journey for me, and I really wanted that. So everything that really happened in the past few months since the last time I did an episode was basically that. Like, it really, what's the term? Like, it really broke down all of all of the things that I thought I knew about myself, to reveal like a different version of myself now, or like the person that I'm meant to be slowly. Yeah. So I'm part of a nonprofit volunteer organization called JCI Iloilo Ilang. We're an all-female chapter that provides leadership development opportunities that empower young people to create positive change. Our chapter conducts projects aligned with the UN SDGs, and a few of our programs include women empowerment, protection of the environment and animals, assistance for differently abled people, and uplifting different communities such as the youth, the elderly, and even far-flung island barangays. We have a ton of projects coming up, so if you'd like to support this cause, you can reach out to us on our social media pages, JCI Iloilo Ilang, both on Instagram and Facebook, or email us at iloiloilangilang@gmail.com. So welcome back. If you have a cup of coffee, you can take it out with you, take a sip with me. And now we're going to go through all of the lessons that I've learned recently, and everything that has, I guess, kind of changed because of this, of the chaos that happened in my life, and just like coming from that very dark place to this place of feeling more like aligned and awake, and that's kind of why I did this in the first place. This was exactly the reason for that. The first two, well, actually, the first one is what I learned from that podcast episode I was talking about. And this episode like talked about how you should not get easily affected, or take personally anything that what other people say about you. So that probably didn't make any sense, but basically what I'm trying to say is the opinions of others is a reflection of them and not you. And that really hit home to me, because it's like, I'm the type of person, I'm a people pleaser. So to all my fellow people pleasers out there, we're here, I'm here. This one's for you. I easily get triggered by, when I feel like other people might be talking negatively about me, or when I feel like they might not like me. That really triggers me. It really makes me feel small. It really does. And when all that happened, I felt very, very small. I felt very defeated. I felt like I was worthless. And yeah, like I just felt terrible about myself. And when I heard that episode, and then this is exactly what she said, it just like changed everything. It was like she mentioned how, you know, why will I let myself be affected by people who I don't even who don't even pay me? They're not paying me. So if it's like for work, if it's like a client, or if it's like a family member of some sort, there it's a different case. It's a different story. But for the most part, the people who, let's say, you don't owe anything to them, honestly. They chose to be here. They said yes to be here. And if whatever they say is negative about me, then that's on them. That's the story that they've built in their head about me. And that's not entirely true. It's not the truth. They don't know me. They've never taken the chance to sit and get to know me, my story. So why am I going to let them affect me? So the opinions of others, that's actually a reflection of them and not of me, period. So that really stuck with me. And ever since that happened, it was like anything that they did, anything that they would say, anything that they would post online about me, it just like it didn't even like hit me, like nothing, you know. It was like there was this barrier that I wasn't even, yeah, nothing, like none. No emotions, no reactions whatsoever. So it was really amazing to have that experience, all because of hearing that on an episode, like on a podcast. So the opinions of others, that's a reflection of them. It's not of me. That's their story of me. That's not who I am. Again, I don't owe them anything. You know, they don't owe me anything either. You know, the reality is that's it. So if that's the kind of person they want to be, and if that's a story that they want to put out there, you know, so be it. That's on them. Let that fill in whatever void they have going on in their life. And again, the people who kind of do that kind of thing, you know, who like to talk about other people, who like to bring other people down, or who like to blame other people, or who like to just talk shit about everyone else or what everyone does, they have their own insecurities. They have their own issues and that are unresolved, and they've got their own problems, you know. So that's more of, again, a reflection of their own insecurities. It's not mine. So again, that was the first big lesson that really just changed everything. And from then on, I was like, you do you, I'll do me, whatever, you know, whatever, doesn't matter, because I'm here. This is my term. This is my life, and I'm just going to keep going because this is mine. You know, I'm not going to let anyone else take that away from me. Uh yeah, and when you're president, this may sound a little like too much or intense for those who are not in this world and not in this position, not in the world of JCI, but you know, this is what I would say to other presidents. You know, this is your moment. This is your moment. This is your time. Don't let what other people say or think about you, your choices, your decisions here get to you, because you know, it's not their time. This is your time. So just keep going. Which leads me to my second lesson, that do not let the noise throw you off. And this is something that I learned. It's going to make me emotional, I swear, because, but I'm going to try my best not to cry, because this is something I learned from my IPP, my immediate past president. So the president, like right before me, my God, you know, like I swear, when she shared those words with me, it just like, it just reminded me, you know, like she's been here. She's been here. She knows it. She knows all of this. She sees it. She sees my journey. She sees me. She sees what I'm going through. And to hear her say those words, like, just don't let it throw you off, because it's really part of the journey. Gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of noise. There's gonna be a lot of drama. All of this could like pull you down. It could weigh you down 100%. But don't let that throw you off your path, because again, going back to the first lesson I learned, right? This is your moment. This is your term, and you barely have enough time. Like you just have less than a year, honestly, to like soak it all in and to make this your 1 year to lead. So if you're going to let anyone break you, if you're going to let anyone weigh you down, you're going to lose the small time that you have left, you know? So it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And so when she said those words to me, because it's like I was, you know, I called her up and I was like, what did I do wrong? Like where did I what did I not do enough for all of them, or for all of this? You know, where did I go wrong? Where did I, like, I don't know, basically like saying all these things, like um kumbaga, like in our language, like aning pagkukulang ko, in this whole experience. Because it's like when you're president, you're going to give everything you have. You give your time, your money. Like, I resigned from my work because it's like I couldn't keep up with it anymore. Like a lot of us will sacrifice a lot of things that other people may not see and may not appreciate. So to hear her say that, like, you're giving your all, that doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what you didn't do, what you did wrong, like all of that, it doesn't even matter. Who cares? Right now, you just got to keep going. Don't let the noise throw you off. Don't let, everything happening pull you down or throw you off your path, because keep your eye on the prize, keep your eye on the finish line. You got to keep going. You're almost there. So, honestly, every time I think of that, about this lesson, it just makes me so emotional, because that's been my biggest challenge, like my whole entire life, is that I never like finish things. I'm always so afraid to like keep going, because it's like I'm afraid of like burning out. So like I burn out anyway. I don't know. Like I'm so afraid of failing that I just like abandon at the last part of whatever it is I'm doing. And it's like that always happens to me. That always is my experience. And so this is like literally, I feel like one of the first times, I think, like that's like really meaningful to me, wherein it's like, no, don't stop. Right? Usually in your life, this is the point where you would just like throw in the towel and just say bye, and walk away or not give it your all. But because of that, and because of what she shared, it really like gave me, it's like a new battery pack. Like right now we're running on almost empty, and it's like because of what she said, it gave me like a brand new battery pack. Keep going, because you're almost there. So again, don't let the noise throw you off on whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, whatever it is that you want, especially when you're so close. Because when you're so close, that's the point when you feel like you are done. You feel like you're dying, you feel like you're giving up, but no, you gotta keep going, gotta keep moving. Whew. what what a crazy episode, isn't it? Anyway, number 3, confidence cultivates through how you carry yourself and in how much you trust in who you are and like what you believe in. So this is something that I wanted to add here, because again, as you remember several episodes back, especially at the beginning of my term, I struggled with my confidence. I was at a point in my life where I just felt, again, very ugly. I felt like very um unsuccessful. I felt like I was carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders, and it was just like everything was just like a burden for me. And I started my term that way, like just feeling insecure, especially with my Bell's palsy, and all these things. And then as I continued on my term, I realized, that confidence, it's not something that you just like have, because you were born beautiful and pretty and all these things. And we cannot help it, but we do live in a world where like first impressions do matter, and like how you carry yourself, how you walk in the room, how you look, it does matter. But the way I want to see it and practice that is that it has to come from a genuine place. Like, I'm doing this because it makes me feel, I already feel whole as myself. But whenever I whenever I carry myself in a better way, or when I dress better, it just makes me feel so much more confident, And I think that's very important, because like as we get older, like I'm in my 30s and I'm married, things are different. Things are different. It's like it is it's just so much easier to just like let yourself go and then like not make an effort. But the way it impacts how you feel about yourself is also negative for the most part, for us women. At least for me, that's how I felt, because as I got older and as I became married, it's like I had so much to think of. You have a lot more responsibilities. It's like the easiest thing to do was just to let yourself go. But then when I would do that and when I would see myself in photos or in the mirror, I just felt ugly. Like I felt like I wasn't enough. So I think like this journey, especially meeting other people, doing something like this, being in Japan, meeting other JCI leaders as well, and seeing how they carry themselves and how I want to carry myself, like it really changed. And yes, I think now one of my lessons here is sometimes you have to make an effort so that the first impression kind of aligns with who you are inside as well. I know who I am. I know the type of person I am. I know the type of leader I am. Um, I like to call myself, I'm like a quiet, gentle leader. I'm a gentle leader. I'm a quiet leader. I'm a mindful leader. And I like, I don't want to be loud. I don't want to be like, like I don't want to be an overachiever. That's not who I am. For me, everything is intentional. Everything has its purpose, and everything has a reason. And everything is because it comes from passion and support and the love of whatever whatever endeavor or initiative that is. That's the kind of leader I am, and I want like who I am on the outside to reflect that as well. So I think like because of this term that I've learned to take better self take take better care of myself, because that does matter, especially for us ladies, taking care of yourself, not always putting other people first before us. So whether that's yoga, meditation, journaling, all of that, like that's still my priority, even up to this day, no matter what. Like I have to start my day with that. So if there are pending messages, like you can wait. Like you can all wait because this is important for me. Because like what the world president mentioned yesterday, my life isn't just all JCI. And that's coming from the world president. She has way more on her plate than me or than anyone else. So, this is JCI is not our entire life. JCI is a part of her life, and she still has the rest of her life. She still has a family, she's still a wife, a mother, a business owner, an entrepreneur, and JCI is just a part of that. And so I have to like that's always been my my mentality all throughout, like from the beginning, is that I also wanted my members to realize that JCI isn't your entire life. It's a part of your life. So if you need to prioritize other things, you do that. If you need to take care of yourself, you do that. If you need to step back, step away from it, do that. So that's why through this experience, taking time to exercise, to move makes me feel good. During the mornings, I'm going to spend my time journaling, meditating, resting when I need to so that I can jump into my actual JCI tasks with a clear head and like a grounded state. And of course, whenever I go out of the house now, I make an effort, because not just because I think it's a big reason that, yes, because right now I do hold this position. So I want to, you know, carry that with me wherever I go. Again, as president, you are the face of your chapter. So wherever you go, you carry that with you no matter what, even if you're not at an official JCI event. And so that was important to me. And I think by doing that, it just like boosted my confidence a little bit more and made me feel better, like in how I dress up, how I carry myself, how I speak, doing it in a way that's very calm and grounded, and not anxious and not nervous. So, yeah, like I think this whole journey has really boosted my confidence. And I think, like, for me, For every person who struggles with that, like this is the perfect avenue for that. It does come with a lot of other things too, but I think the confidence that it brings is on another level. Okay, last two lessons. So the fourth one is when you feel like giving up. A lot of us would just like throw in the towel, but again, no. When that happens, when you feel burnt out and tired, just take a step back, take a breather, rest for a few days for however long you need to, and then try it again. And I think I've done that many, many times throughout this journey when I really feel like, oh man, I want to give up. I don't want to do this. What if I just become like a non functioning president because I'm just like that tired already? But I just remind myself, like, nope, you're going to just take a step back, take a break, even if it's just like a day break. Don't answer any messages. Take a break from that. And then when you're ready, when you feel you can do this again, try it again. And that has worked for me so many times. I find that after doing that, I have a newfound strength and energy and and capacity to do it, to finish whatever was unfinished. So whenever you have those moments when you feel like, oh man, I'm just so tired, even like when it comes to teaching yoga, there have been many, many times, like in the past decade, that I've been teaching yoga when I feel like, oh, maybe I should give up on teaching. Maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. Maybe I should just like close my business now. I've done that so many times. And every single time, I just like take a break. I take a few days off. Maybe I'll take a week off of not teaching. Maybe I'll travel for a month and like take a break from all of that. And every single time when I come back, it's like I want to teach again. Like there's this newfound love for it. So if you've ever experienced that in life, just take a break, take a step back, and then try it again. And then lastly, focus on your core group. I think this was again another one that I got from like the advice that I got from past presidents, from my circle of presidents, and they reminded me that, and I think, my mom has always told me all of these lessons growing up, and I knew, like I know, but it's really different when you experience it yourself and like life puts you through that and you like learn it for yourself, because that's the time when you really like, okay, I get it, like I get what you're trying to say, but you put in your own your own learning, your own influence to that lesson, because it's different for each person. And maybe for them it's easy to just say like, don't mind other people, just, focus on focus on the people who support you. It's easy to just say that if it was easy in your experience, but you have to consider my experience, and it's going to be a bit different. So throughout this whole experience, what was really nice is that my past presidents reminded me, focus on your core group. Like, who are the people who are supporting you 100%, who are still with you, who are willing to listen, who have your back? Focus on them and don't mind everyone else. If they wanna support and help out in some projects or some things, let them go ahead. If they don't want to, let them. Don't worry about them. Don't bother yourself about their issues and all that. So reminding me of that, like focus on who you can really rely on in this lifetime. Outside of JCI, I have my husband, I have my family, I have friends, specific friends who I can really lean on, I can really, who I know are going to be there for me no matter what. And that's that, focus on that. And everyone else, they don't really matter. It doesn't really matter. And I think all of these lessons, again, like I mentioned, these are patterns and experiences that I've had many, many times in my life. This isn't the first time. But what's different is that I think like this experience has showed me how much I have changed and grown throughout the past several years because of meditation, my practice, because of my now, like my faith, my my awareness, I guess the maturity that comes with growing up as well, the wisdom that you find, the way I've handled these situations has been very, very different. I see everything now that has happened, like in the past few months of my, especially in the past few months, but in this whole term so far, all of these challenges were truly like lessons. Every time I had a challenge or I struggled with whatever it was, I just asked myself, what is the lesson that I'm learning from this? What is this trying to teach me? And taking a moment to process that and to understand it, and then see if I can do something about it. Like, what do I change now moving forward now that I know this, has really made a difference. It has really changed, and it changed me and showed me that this is the best reward. This is what it means to feel very fulfilled and to have a fulfilling experience, because I just wasn't here just to hold this position, just to get us across another year and pass it on to the next one. This is a very special experience, becoming president, especially being part of JCI. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's so nakaka-proud talaga siya, and I feel like nothing else has trained me the way I have been trained here, especially when I said yes to opportunities like this, going to Japan, doing things like this. Whenever I put myself out there, meeting new people, those are all like out of my comfort zone, but it's really nice. It really like changes you as a person. And I love that. And I can see how my mom has also like experienced that in her life, and how my life mirrors that as well. And it has brought me closer to my mom, because of everything we've been through. Having this experience has brought me closer to her. This experience has brought me closer to my husband, because it really has tested like how much he supports me and how patient he is and how willing he is to just drop everything to be with me, especially in my struggles. Like, my struggles in JCI are also his struggles. Could you imagine? Like, he has nothing to do with this, but because of our support for one another, like, he's here for me too. And it's been amazing. This has strengthened my friendship with a few of my past presidents and members, like some of the people who I've really grown close with. Like, all of this has brought us even closer together, and of course brought me closer to everyone else in JCI. I got to meet other people. I got to learn from other people. It's a beautiful experience, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And for me personally, it's been a lot. It has changed me. It has changed how I run my business, how I run businesses, how I teach my classes, how I deal with my clients, how I deal with my students, and how I just deal with my daily life. It's been a lot, but it's also been very meaningful, and I'm very thankful for all of this, to be on the other side of all of that now, as a changed person, as an empowered woman. And I really hope that you also have a similar experience, that a moment in your life changes you in the same way that it has for me, and that you also chase after those opportunities, that are scary, that seem impossible, because as long as you have a good support system, and as long as you know who you are and stay grounded, and you listen, but you also stay on your path, like, you're going to be you're going to be successful. So that's it for me in Japan. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Ilongga Yogi podcast. And I would love to hear from you. So follow me on my socials at Ilongga Yogi. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that this episode was meaningful for you as well. And I wish you peace in the body, the mind, and the heart. And I'll see you next time. Bye.